I am yours truly, Nova Younger Coleman, President for the Jamaica Statistical Society, and we will begin our meeting. I really want to just say a very special welcome to everyone who made it to our meeting, whether in person or on Zoom. We're very happy to have you join us. And I see that some people responded to my invitation. Thank you so much. And so we also, as people do when they get into these virtual events, I'm still going to ask you at this point, we're going to pause and allow you to send the invitation to at least one more person because we really don't want you to miss out on what we have planned for this evening. We welcome you to the another members meeting for the Jamaica Statistical Society, and even more special for us is the launch of our David Finlay lecture series. And we're really happy you can join us this evening for this event. So there is still time to invite another person. We do have a special guest lecturer here with us, and we're looking forward to a very good sitting. So without further ado, I'm going to invite one of our members, Ms. Gerline Gray, to come and do the prayer for us.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we thank you for today. We thank you for life and health and for allowing us that we can come even this evening to do the business of the organization and also to have this inaugural lecture series. We thank you for the life, Mr. Finlay. The example he has been, the pace setter he has been. And so as we come, Lord, we ask your presence. We ask that you'll just lead and guide. And we won't fail to give you the glory, the honor, and the praise in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen.
Hey,
thank you so much. It's great. And so at this point, we go into this official launch of our lecture series session where we launch our lecture series. And we're going to start with greetings from Mrs. Ave McIntosh, Head of School of Applied Statistics at the University of Technology. She will be giving her greetings virtually. She's on our Zoom platform. We welcome you, Mrs. McIntosh. Go right ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I don't know if you're seeing me. I'm Ave McIntosh, and I would like all protocols being observed. And it's indeed a pleasure to see all of you, colleagues from the School of Mathematics and Statistics, Dr. Benjamin, fellow lecturers, welcome. It's indeed a pleasure to observe this lecture series for David Finlay. Yeah, so sorry about that. I am in the middle of conducting a class, so I'm here multitasking. Yes, Mr. Finlay has been a member of the School of Mathematics and Statistics. Actually, he goes all the way back to the days of CAS when he joined in 1989 and as a math and lecturer. But indeed, you know, he had this passion for mathematics. But we go all the way back to age 19 when we both attended the University of the West Indies, and he did special mathematics then. And we, 5 years after I joined UTech, Mr. Finlay came on board. He had a passion for mathematics. He had done special maths, but on joining the University of Technology, then CAS, you know, he had a burning desire for statistics, and he didn't stop until he actually produced the applied statistics course of study. And that, of course, was born out of the social and economic statistics course that we ran jointly with Statistical Institute of Jamaica. So, yes, it's, as I said, it's really an honor that the Jamaica Statistical Society is now honoring him through this lecture series. And yes, I am not sure if he is a part of the audience, the live audience, but I'm sure he is over the moon, knowing that his work is hard work, and he's quite a compassionate individual, cared for. He has done helped so many lecturers to complete their Ph.D. He took their data set and he would work them through, and numerous projects. He just had that passion, and for him, work is fun. So, he would be at it until he actually, had a breakthrough, whatever. And he has a very compassionate heart. And yes, he has a very compassionate heart, also for his students. And like the first set of applied stats students, he actually walked them through, and he was actually the first program director for that, the course that he developed back then. So, and all I can say at this time, thank you all for recognizing Mr. Finlay, and welcome to each and every one of you on behalf of the School of Mathematics and Statistics at the University of Technology. Sorry, I am not there to join you physically, but I'm with you in the cyberspace. Thank you. Over to you, Madam MC.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Massey. Really appreciate your making yourself available, multitasking to accommodate us. And yes, I am happy you were able to almost confirm some of what we actually have in the next feature of this meeting. Thank you so much for your greetings and for giving support to this launch of our lecture series. And so at this time, because we don't want to keep you too long, thank you. We're going to move into the reading and presentation of a special citation to our dear Mr. David Finlay. We're going to invite him, if you can. Can you come and sit at the front with us, please, sir? Okay, thank you very much. It is indeed our pleasure as the members of the Jamaica Statistical Society to extend a special honor and a special gratitude to somebody who has been very important to the growth of our society. We're happy that we can do this while we can both David and us can enjoy the experience. And so I'll read in your hearing. The Jamaica Statistical Society was a brainchild of Mr. David Finlay, and he became the inaugural president on its formation in 2013. As far back as 2004, he would chair meetings of persons in the network of statisticians, mathematicians, and data analysts to discuss plans to establish a statistical association. This group was then known as the Statistical Consulting Collaborative Planning Committee in 2004. And they established bylaws which are currently in use by the Jamaica Statistical Society. After regular meetings, between 2004 and 2005, the plan to establish what was then called at the meetings the Jamaica Statistics Association, the planning committee went on hiatus. Consequently, discussions about the formation of the society resumed in 2011 when academics from the UWI and the University of Technology, Jamaica, including Mr. David Finlay, expressed the desire for more statistical meetings, such as the just concluded meeting of the International Biometric Society's Central American Caribbean region. Mr. Finlay and a small group of academics started meeting to plan a statistics symposium and form the Jamaica Statistical Society. The Jamaica Statistical Society was launched on November 1, 2013, to close the staging of the first biennial Jamaica Statistics Symposium and pre-conference workshops held October 30th to November 1, 2013. With Mr. David Finlay at the helm of this fledgling society until 2015, the JSS made strides in building our visibility and global reach through staging training workshops, staging the second biennial Jamaica Statistics Symposium in 2014, and staging members' meetings at which notable speakers with expertise in data handling and interpretation were guest speakers. Our newsletter named Statistically Speaking was also developed and circulated. In 2018, Mr. Finlay was re-elected as president of the Statistical Society for the 2019-2020 term. Now armed with previous experience, he lobbied further for the appropriate use of statistics and sought to encourage and reach educators who had the potential to train persons and equip them to be appropriate users of data. This was his passion. His firm belief was that statistical science serves the purpose both to guide the process, to represent the information necessary for decision-making on various vital issues, as well as to process the information to provide the basis for drawing correct and appropriate conclusions. He, therefore, did all he could to position the JSS and his work at the University of Technology, Jamaica, to see statistical science playing its rightful role. In so doing, he developed the first edition of the Jamaica Statistical Society's training workshop manual entitled Introduction to R for Data Analysis, and was a team player instrumental in executing training workshops in the use of R software and Microsoft Excel for data analysis. While he pursued his BSc degree in mathematics at the University of the West Indies Mona campus, Mr. David Finlay commenced his journey of empowering students to use data appropriately at his high school alma mater, the Calabar High School, where from 1984 to 1987, he prepared students to sit external examinations in mathematics and further mathematics. In 1987, after acquiring his BSc in mathematics in 1985, he commenced his extensive work in the field of statistics at the tertiary level, with his teaching portfolio extending beyond the University of Technology, Jamaica, to include work as lecturer and statistical advisor at the West Indies College, which is now Northern Caribbean University, and this was between 1991 to 1995. He served as facilitator for a mathematics workshop for secondary school teachers done on behalf of the Ministry of Education in 1997. He was organizer and program leader for statistics training programs specially created for the Ministry of Finance and Planning in 2001. And he served as teaching assistant at the University of Florida, Gainesville, while he pursued his Master of Science in Statistics at this world-renowned institution from 2001 to 2003. Armed with his Master of Science in Statistics from the University of Florida, he returned to UTech Jamaica and dedicated himself to the development of the BSc Applied Statistics degree program, giving service and academic leadership par excellence to the degree program's planning committee from 2005 to 2008, and giving service in developing the curriculum for most of the degree program's modules. At UTech Jamaica, his leadership in statistics education has been demonstrated in his service as acting and assistant program leader and subsequently program leader for the certificate in social and economic statistics, offered then by the Faculty of Health and Applied Sciences at UTech Jamaica, And this was from 1991 to 1999, to 2001, and from 2003 to 2005. He also served as program director for the BSc Applied Statistics program from 2008 to 2011, acting head of Statistics and Research Methodology Division in 2012, and head of the Statistics and Research Methodology Division from 2014 to 2015. Mr. Finlay's stellar performance as an educator was no doubt inspired by his parents, who were both educators. His father, Dr. Ambrose Finlay, was former principal at the Jamaica University College and former dean at the United Theological College of the West Indies. His mother, Mrs. Uname Finlay, attained her teacher's certificate from the Shortwood Teachers College and her Bachelor of Education degree from the University of the West Indies. His journey in the field of statistics has also been supported by his siblings, his brother Emile Finlay, who is here in our audience with us today. We're happy to have you, and his sister Noelle Patricia Finlay, and many other loved ones and friends. And, you know, his parents are now deceased, but, you know, we're grateful for certainly for the influence they had on David. The acrostic below aptly sums up Mr. David Finlay's role in building the cadre of data analysis professionals who serve locally and globally. D, he was dedicated to ensuring that persons are adequately skilled to emerge to give high quality statistical service. A, he was an avid servant of students whom he taught and all researchers with whom he collaborated. V, vibrant and enthusiastic with respect to anything related to statistics. I, intellectual stimulator in challenging you to think deeply about the theory of statistics. D, driven to have us achieve greater and better use and interpretation of data. F, faithfully committed to the development of all training programs with which he was affiliated, and in particular, the BSc Applied Statistics program at the University of Technology, Jamaica. I, innovative in seeing the need for the various training courses and modules that he developed. N, novel in his thought process that led to the development of training programs and activities for the Jamaica Statistical Society. L, loyal to the cause of statistics in Jamaica and the Jamaica Statistical Society. A, available to provide statistical support and training even during the difficult seasons of his life. Yeoman service aptly captures the kind of service Mr. David Finlay has given to the field of statistics, and in particular, statistics in education. Today, we pause to applaud and express deep gratitude for his faithful, committed service to the development of intellect related to statistics in Jamaica. He has built a legacy of statistics in education, both by way of offering or facilitating training, serving as consultant statistician to numerous researchers and research students, and developing curricula. The David Finlay Lecture Series is our way of seeking to carry on and inspiring others to carry on his legacy of good, hard, and valuable work to support the cause of statistics in education in Jamaica. Mr. Finlay, words fail us, but on behalf of all the students, researchers, and colleagues who have sat at your feet and by your side as we were challenged and inspired to achieve greatness, we simply say, thank you and God bless you. We need to turn. Please wait a minute. Let's get the online persons involved. I think having a battery power, you can take it. Oh, everything is. It will come on screen. What does that do? Okay, so you're now on camera. So maybe you need to turn around. Once you look Yes, just look.
Someone wants to say something? Julian raised his hand. Okay. Go ahead, Julian.
Go ahead, Julian.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and again, greetings from Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Finlay and everyone there, Madam President, all invited guests, special invited guests, fellow executive members. I mean, this must be a very auspicious occasion for us. And of course, unfortunately for me, I'm not there, but of course, I'm there in spirit and in cyberspace. And so, like everyone else, I'm looking forward to hear more coming from this lecture series. Again, Mr. President, Madam President, I should say. Well done in introduction, appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. That was Mr. Julian Prescott, our second vice president. Our first vice president, we apologize on his behalf. He has a teaching commitment. All right, thank you very much for making that presentation for us. We'll now have the introduction of our
Yes, speaker.
our teacher lecturer, guest speaker.
Good evening, colleagues online and those who are here physically with us this evening. My role this evening is to introduce our guest speaker. Our guest speaker this evening is Dr. Tamika Benjamin. Dr. Benjamin is the Chief Education Officer in the Tertiary Unit at the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. In our capacity, Dr. Benjamin monitors and support publicly funded higher education institutions, ensuring the implementation of the ministry's policies. Previously, Dr. Benjamin served as National Mathematics Coordinator for 14 years. Dr. Benjamin's wide range of experience focused on mathematics education, focus on mathematics education has also led her to serve as Mathematics Chief External Examiner and Teaching Practice Leader for the Joint Board of Teacher Education in Jamaica. She is also a member of the review team for the teacher education programs in Belize, a consultant to the Mutual Building Society's Foundation Centers of Excellence project. She's also course developer for Guyana's teacher education program. She has written several articles for the Gleaner newspaper, focusing on issues related to mathematics education in Jamaica. In her work at the Ministry of Education, she has provided leadership for the development and implementation of the primary specialist teacher model and has supported the administration in preparing Jamaica for its participation in PISA in 2021. Dr. Benjamin has also led several initiatives in the Ministry of Education, focusing on improving tertiary education in Jamaica. This includes providing leadership for the management of the Tertiary Student Assistant Program, which provides scholarship and grants to tertiary students, and leading the drive to improve all personal matters for the tertiary sector are managed at the ministry level. Dr. Benjamin is also the former head girl of the St. Andrew High School for Girls. That was a long time ago. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Mathematics and Biochemistry from the University of the West Indies. Also a postgraduate diploma in mathematics education from the Michael College, a Master's of Education Mathematics from the University of the West Indies, and a doctorate in education from the University of Sheffield in England. Dr. Benjamin was awarded the Prime Minister's Medal of Appreciation for Service to Education in 2020. She is a lover of music, reading. She serves as a member of the praise team of our church and is co-lead for its prayer ministry. Dr. Benjamin has been married to Dr. Albert for 27 years and they have 3 daughters. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Benjamin to the podium for the lecture. Welcome, Dr. Benjamin.
Both those persons in the room and online. Thank you for inviting me to share and for your persistence. I'm not sure who was the persistent person who invited me to share with you this afternoon as members of the Jamaica Statistical Society, and particularly as you launch your David Finlay lecture series, which is designed to celebrate the work and legacy of Mr. David Finlay, first president of the Jamaica Statistical Society. I want to first congratulate you as a society as you celebrate your 10th anniversary. Not many, I'm going to call you a professional body, even though you may not necessarily fit. Not many bodies last long. It requires a lot of commitment and persistence because people are caught up in work and advancing their own, especially in an academic setting, their own studies and their own work. But I really want to say, having received the support of the society in my years as math coordinator with the Math Expo, I really appreciate the work that you have been doing and that you continue to do, particularly maybe as it relates to statistics, but I want to say more broadly in terms of promoting mathematics and mathematics education and its importance. And so today, I had to give in to the persistent request to be here when I thought of the importance of the work that you do and the fact that we need to continue to work with and partner with each other in meeting the ultimate goal of seeing Jamaica, I would want to say, become a mathematical nation. Still trying to give him some time to get the slides up. I don't have a lot of slides, so it's just to demonstrate a few things. But you're good. Okay, so I hope the persons online are seeing the slide. The slides, if you can see my title slide, you can let me know so we can know that you are able to. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and begin. I think that allows a lot of room and attitude for exploration. Statistics in education, the lay of the land. And it's timely as we continue as a country to focus on finding solutions to the crisis that we are facing. This year we will have seen a fall. Well, technically, we should not be comparing CSEC performance for 24 to 23 because last year we would have had the anomalies or the cheating that led to students only sitting paper one, and then this year they would have done paper one, paper two. So technically speaking, we should not say there was a decline, but the fact that we only had 38%, about 38% of our students attain a grade 1, 2, or 3 is surprising. And later on, I'll share a little data. And it's interesting because the data I'm going to share is actually for the same group of students who sat CSEC this year. And so we actually knew that we would have had an issue based on that particular data set that I'm going to share. But we are in the middle of a crisis, particularly when we consider where the world is going and the fact that mathematics is playing an even more important role in growth and development and in terms of countries advancing in the world. So we really need to find meaningful solutions to the problems that we're currently having. And for me, you can't identify a meaningful solution if you're not able to actually pinpoint what the issues are, what are the factors, and not just what are the factors, but what are the root causes of those issues as well. So your discussions, I think, are timely and appropriate. They have a potential to create the opportunity for us to generate new thoughts and dig a little deeper into some of the issues that sometimes get glossed over and caught up in other discussions in the education setting. But as I said, I think it's important that in this time we focus on identifying solutions, particularly when we recognize where we need to be positioned in Jamaica. Kumar describes this particular period internationally or globally as follows. The pace of change in the world is accelerating faster than we can ever imagine. Every aspect of our lives, from technology to social norms, is constantly evolving at an unprecedented rate. The world has changed more in the last decade than it has in the previous century. The technological advancements we have seen in the last decade alone have transformed the way we live our lives. Smartphones, for instance, have become an integral part of our lives, allowing us to stay connected with our friends and family, access information, and perform various tasks with just a few taps. Social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter have completely changed the way we interact with each other and consume information. The rise of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotics has also completely transformed various industries from healthcare to manufacturing. Automation and digitization have become the norm, allowing us to do things more efficiently and at a much faster pace than ever before. The integration of technology into our daily lives has made our lives more convenient and efficient, but it has also created new challenges that we must navigate. Now, Vision 2030, most of us, I think, know it by now, states that our goal is to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Now, achieving this goal is going to mean that we will have to take some strategic steps as a country that will allow every single Jamaican to reach his or her full potential in order that they can enjoy a high quality of life. Our National Development Plan outlines several strategies focused on creating a world-class education system, which is the most important vehicle to investing in Jamaica's greatest assets, our people. It's therefore not surprising that education continues to enjoy a significant portion of budget. And this is in an effort to support the development of a citizenry and a workforce, which is able to participate in the creation and the sustaining of a stable economy. A workforce that's technologically competent and has the knowledge, skills, and competencies needed to develop the industries which will drive our economy, from agriculture, manufacturing, mining and quarrying, construction, information and communication technology, amongst others. We need persons who are able to take on jobs which don't yet exist and to create jobs for the local and global context. We also want to be able to create a safe and a cohesive and just Jamaican society, a prosperous economy, and a healthy natural environment. So our focus on education in the midst of all of this is not misplaced. Realizing these goals will require deliberate steps to be taken to ensure that most, if not all, Jamaicans are able to access higher education and training opportunities, which are focused on the development of the knowledge, skills, and competencies which support survival in the knowledge or information economy, where there is a reliance on the use of ideas rather than physical abilities. So we've moved away from a stage in our economy where physical work was what was required for the masses. And now ideas is what we're going to need, the level of innovation and creativity. The demand for innovation and creativity has increased. But we also are in an economy that's relying on the application of technology rather than the transformation of raw materials or the exploitation of cheap labor. The truth is, knowledge is being developed and applied in new ways. Product cycles are shorter and the need for innovation is greater. Trade has and continues to expand worldwide, increasing competitive demands on producers. Knowledge, now easily can Google anything, find anything out, has given way to an emphasis on competencies, and interdisciplinarity has become the means by which key competencies are reinforced. In addition, analytical skills now supersede the ability to memorize, as there is increased emphasis on an individual's ability to research in an effort to learn more about the problem before attempting to solve it, to analyze data, identifying patterns and trends, and dividing the findings to decision makers. Think critically, understanding logical relationships between data and ideas in order to identify rational solutions. Think creatively, thereby identifying out-of-the-box experiences, and communicate effectively the analysis conducted to decision makers. So with an attempt to drive the development of a citizenry with the ability to analyze and problem solve, the Ministry of Education and Youth designed the National Standards Curriculum, rolled out initially in 2016, where the development of the 4 C's, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, have taken center place with the use of the STEM methodology as the main driver. STEM, we all know what it means: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We've included A for the arts, is therefore a critical component of Jamaica's education policy. It encompasses life sciences, outside of the medical sciences, mathematics and statistics, engineering, and computing. The 4 fields that support the development of problem solving and critical thinking skills, and they're therefore a key driver for the innovation we're speaking about. It has become the focus of many Asian countries whose levels of production and economic growth are beginning to outstrip the traditional world leaders of North America and Europe. These countries, including Singapore, China, Japan, and Korea. No, that slide is not flow. Have leveraged science and mathematics to spur the significant growth that they are currently experiencing as they are focused on developing a society with strong mathematical skills, which are able, and so they are now able to capitalize on STEM industries, vibrant STEM industries, innovate by creating new technologies. They are the main creators of a lot of the things that we are seeing and we are doing. They are able to function within the context of existing industries, helping to make them more efficient and more effective. The growth being experienced by these nations is not surprising, since several strands of research have emphasized the importance of improving mathematics and, by extension, science skills, noting that attainment in mathematics as a measure of assessing human capital has a strong correlation to the economic outcomes of a nation, such as its earnings and the GDP. So there's a lot of data linking math performance, in particular, to the GDP of nations. So consider the 2022 results of the Program for International Students Assessment, PISA. The top 5 countries in the world for mathematics: Singapore, 2 provinces in China, Japan, and Korea. All Asian countries. All right. Jamaica, which participated in PISA 2022, should have been 2021, became 2022 because of COVID, for the first time, ranked 67th of the 81 participating countries. When looking at the world's top economies, this process of a little bit, as assessed by the United Nations based on their GDP in 2024, all the PISA top performing countries appear in the top 40, with Japan and China appearing 2nd and 4th, respectively, after the United States of America. 30 years ago, this would not have been the case. But these countries, again, have used their education systems, fueled a strong focus on mathematics and science to transform their workforce and, by extension, their nation. If one could doubt or would doubt the correlation between student performance in mathematics and economic growth and national development, consider the following. In the job market, students who have strong mathematics backgrounds are more likely to be employed and earn 38% more per hour than those with insufficient skills in algebra, geometry, measurement, and probability. Hanishek, one of the top economists that has done a lot of research in this area, found relatively large effects of science and math scores on economic growth. He notes that the growth effect may incorporate not only direct increases in income, but also higher productivity in other economic and social domains, including labor market outcomes, tax payments, health status, lower criminal activity, and a lower welfare receipt. The level of cognitive skills of a nation's students has a large effect on its subsequent economic growth rate, and of note is that mathematics and science attainment are the most reliable predictors of those cognitive skills. Students of all income levels who are successful in mathematics at the secondary level are more likely to go to college, understandably so, and as a result, are more able to access jobs within the knowledge economy. And gains in mathematics achievement can improve economic outcomes in 3 ways. producing more individuals who are able to access higher education, improving student performance at all levels of the system, and creating a workforce which is able to increase productivity and hence support economic growth and development. So we can also consider data from the US, which says that STEM jobs are projected to grow 10.8% between 2022 and 2032, 4 times faster than non-STEM related jobs. The median annual wage for all STEM occupations is $97,000 US, compared with $44,000 for non-STEM related jobs. And since 1990, STEM employment has grown 79%, whereas overall employment grew by only 34%. Young adults with bachelor's or higher degrees in the fields of STEM, technology, engineering, and mathematics tend to have more positive economic outcomes, such as higher median earnings, than those with degrees in non-STEM fields. And this is a reality, not just in the US, it is happening right here in Jamaica. I'm sure if you look at your programs, I've seen it personally. One of my daughters pursued a STEM field, was employed before she finished her first degree, and has seen significant increases in her income within the course of 2 years, right? Just because the company can't afford to lose her, because there aren't enough. That's software engineering. There aren't enough. We're not training enough software engineers to meet the demands. And COVID only spurred the need, because banks and many other companies that had to build out their online services needed to incorporate. They were hiring, when she started working with her company, they were hiring a consultant to help them with their platforms that they were paying almost $500,000 Jamaican dollars in the course of a week. So it was to their interest to invest in Jamaican students so that they could build up their workforce and clearly save money, while still paying them more than the average graduate, right? In a non-STEM related field. So this is data outside Jamaica, but it is also happening in Jamaica. So the power of mathematics lies both in the knowledge it provides and the development of the critical skills and competencies that it supports. Math is a foundation for so many other sciences, natural and social, which underpin critical aspects of how our world works. And it has been proven time and time again to play a significant role in the development of critical thinking skills and attitudes, which allow an individual to problem solve, innovate, think critically, and function effectively in a changing workplace. Mathematics equips an individual with uniquely powerful ways to describe, analyze, and change the world. It's a creative discipline, having a critical role in both the arts, although most people don't see it or say they don't see it, as both the visual and performing arts. It's a habit of mind for the workplace, for business and finance, for personal and public decision-making, and for the participation in the knowledge economy. And a lot of us use it every day. Sometimes we don't even recognize how much we rely on it. In simple ways, when I used to teach, I used to talk about even just determining how early I need to get up in the morning based on how I know the traffic flows and how long I'm going to sit in there. All of those things are decisions you're making based on mathematics, right? And you're covering not just matters of time, but you're also looking at the probability of you getting somewhere on time, depending on when you leave. Right? There's a lot, but we do it intuitively. And yet at the same time, people think they're not able to do it. While there's an undeniable case for the importance of math, I feel compelled to emphasize that within the science are specific disciplines or specialized areas which play a significant role in shaping and supporting effective governance. Statistics is one such field. It supports critical research, enables evidence-based decisions, and guides the formulation of policy, right? Even though sometimes we may think we could do more with more data, but it is playing a critical role in shaping policy at so many levels. And the statistics also informs the development of sustainable systems focused on supporting equitable growth and national development. It's a vital tool to helping us to create safe communities and guiding how we allocate scarce resources across this nation. Now, having established the significance of mathematics and the potential therein to support Jamaica's growth and development, and our drive to make Vision 2030 a reality, we must carefully begin to interrogate what are the factors hindering Jamaica from being able to reap the benefits of mathematics and STEM. Now, there are several factors which impact student performance, and these can be placed in two categories: those that exist or originate within the school setting, and those that exist or originate outside the context of a school. Social and emotional issues are some of the factors that will affect student attainment, and these generally originate outside of a school. There are real issues though, issues of nutrition, attendance rates. That is a big problem in Jamaica. A lot of us may have thought we had overcome that. We still have an issue with Fridays. If you look at attendance in our schools, particularly in rural areas, it's a significant issue. When PATH used to provide meals certain days of the week, that could be a predictor of the attendance rates being high or low. All right. So that's why we can't ignore nutrition issues. We can't ignore attendance. You're teaching a concept and you start Monday and somebody don't turn up Tuesday or Wednesday and turn up Wednesday and don't come Friday. That must affect the output at the end of our school year. All right. Of course, the educational background of parents, that's another real factor. Parents who are able to support their children in a real way. And it's funny, as I tell the story all the time about my grandmother, who did not finish, she certainly never went to grade 9. I am not even sure she went to past grade 6. So she could read and she could write, right? But she wasn't well educated when you look at the standards now. However, she knew that it was the only way for her 6 children to come out of poverty. So my father talks about her not necessarily being able to read the books that he was reading, but insisting that him read the book in front of her anyway. So again, while it is a factor, there is also a level of knowledge and understanding of a parent in terms of their appreciation of the importance of education. And even if they're not able to function at the level of the child, they can set a goal and establish a culture within the home that places education as a priority. But it does affect student attainment. And of course, other socioeconomic issues will as well. Now, there are also factors within the school. And these too, we can't ignore. Resource inputs, the expenditure per student, and of course, the most talked about one, teacher salaries, all right? Those have an impact, whether we're able to sustain the levels of teachers or whether a student will have a teacher in September, whether the teacher will be there in January, all right? What's the level of training and experience of that teacher? Those are issues. School effectiveness in terms of the leadership quality, you can't ignore that as well, all right? And of course, the quality of teaching and learning that's taking place in the school. Those are real issues. Now, the Program for International Student Assessment, PISA, and this is administered by the OECD, I think so. Notes that the factors closer to the actual learning experience have the most significant impact on the performance of the student. And interestingly, within the Jamaican context, there is a factor that happens within the school context, happens outside of the school context, that I personally believe, and with some research, is actually the most significant factor impacting our students' ability to do well in math, and that is the culture and the attitude to the subject. So students interface with that culture outside, the attitudes of Jamaicans to math, in the world. And then when they go to school, it's there as well, whether they're going to interact with it from other teachers, from their teachers, or even their schoolmates. So this is one of those factors that it's not outside or inside, it's everywhere. Now there's generally a negative attitude to mathematics and mathematics teaching and learning in Jamaica. And this manifests itself in a number of ways, including faulty belief systems. Only some people can do math, right? And so you have nobody will ever, I always say, will say, I can't read. I mean, I've traveled enough and had to fill out lots of immigration forms for strangers who have sat beside me on a flight. Because after a while, you realize the person can't read, all right? I remember as a principal, a parent sending somebody to pick up a child, and he had to sign the child out and he put an X, right? And I mean, that was the first time I was actually confronted with a big horse-steering man who couldn't sign his name, but was driving a car. But that's another question, all right? So that's a real issue. The fact that people believe it is steeped in the mindset of a lot of Jamaicans that only some people can do math. I used to hesitate to tell people what I did, because once I said math, people would even step away from me, right? I don't know if you experienced that, right? But others believe math is not important. You don't need to do that. That's not important. Look much people make it in life, and them never pass CSEC yet, right? You'll get that kind of argument. Now, a negative culture towards math often leads to a fear of the subject, which can at times develop into what we call math anxiety. Now, in a survey conducted by the Ministry of Education in partnership with the Department of Government at the University of the West Indies in 2009, and I want you to bear that in mind based on something I'm going to share, 4,500 teachers were surveyed. 19% of them, these are primary teachers, said they feared the subject and wish they did not have to teach it. All right. Now, the program for PISA assesses the abilities of students aged 15 in reading, mathematics, and science. Students are assessed on their competence to address real-life challenges. So the questions are designed in a particular way. They're not, they're real-life, they're contextualized. And they would have gone through reviews by those of us in Jamaica to ensure they were culturally relevant, and so all of the things you might question about the validity and reliability of the test. It goes through rigor. And we are able to influence the wording of questions to ensure that there isn't the use of any language that may place a Jamaican student at a disadvantage. So you're participating in that process. Now, each round of PISA focuses on one of the three main areas, and in 2022, the focus was on mathematics. And this was the first time, after much debate, Jamaica participated. Now, there is some beauty in participating, because our government has a lot of data. When we used to approach IDPs, international development partners, the only data we had would be CSEC. The only data that would allow us to position what was happening in Jamaica to any other country would have been CSEC related. And of course, it would only be positioning us within the region. So there was nothing that we had that would allow us to independently assess, evaluate, compare what was happening in the Jamaican system to what was taking place globally. So this was a big leap. Not many people, there were many who did not agree with it because they felt, well, we know we're not good already. Why are we going to put ourselves out on the world stage for everybody? But the point is, you know, again, if you don't know, you can't fix it. If you don't know where you stand, you can't even determine how you're going to position yourself. And at least now we have a marker that we can use as we go through the process of transformation in another 2 or 3 years when we participate again, to see if we've seen any growth in any in these factors. So math was a focus, and we participated for the first time in 2022, right after COVID. Now, I want you to consider this data. 3,873 students aged 15 years attending 170 public and private schools. So that sample would have covered majority of our secondary schools. We have about 165, 170. So we would have had a few private schools in the mix. Were assessed in cognitive tests, in mathematics, reading, and science. And they also responded to questionnaire items about their well-being. Principals reported the survey, so it was like a 360. So principals did the survey, teachers did a survey. So you actually got a really comprehensive view of the education system. Now, as was mentioned earlier, Jamaica ranked 66th in mathematics out of the 81 participating countries. And we performed below Costa Rica, Peru, Uruguay, Chile, just as some of the countries. We were the only country in Latin America and the English-speaking Caribbean to participate. Trinidad has done it before, but they did not participate in this round. So we were the only English-speaking Caribbean country and the only, right, in the mix. Now, the minimum level of proficiency that you can attain in PISA is level 2. And this is in relation to reading and math. And this is a level, at level 2, it says that the students are able to tackle tasks that require a minimal ability and disposition to think autonomously. Okay, so that's very basic. Only 26% of our students were able to perform above level 2. All right, only 26% of those 3,876 students were able to perform, at level 2 and above in mathematics. And a very small percentage, I was actually trying to find the report, a very small percentage performed at level 5. And it's important to note, we had good schools, you know what I mean? So it's not that only had the non-traditional high schools in the mix. All right. So only had a very small percentage performing at level 5, which would have been the highest level. I have a little graph here. So Jamaica is at the top with that 74, right? Those are the 74 scoring below level 2. 74% scoring below. Oh, you're not seeing anything. Oh, okay. Yeah. And then, so negligible in my word is those at level 5 and above. All right. No, Jamaican students were asked a series of questionnaire items designed to explore their level of mathematics anxiety and their mathematics mindset. And I don't know if you know about mindset theory. That's coming from the work of Carol Dweck, who basically talks about how students think about their ability to learn. So you either have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, you believe, say, boy, home is stay at home is stay. I can't get any better at this. My talent and my ability, they are fixed. What I'm born with, that's it. A growth mindset, a student with a growth mindset believes that with work, with effort, I can get better at anything that I'm going to do. All right. Now, so we looked at the attitudes of students in terms of their mindset, right? And the focus was on rating their personal relationship with learning and succeeding at math. Now, due to the general low performance, we did some further analysis, ascertaining an association between the students' performance in math and their mindset, how capable they felt they were to achieve in mathematics. And I'll share the findings with you. Now, let me first define mathematics anxiety. Two definitions: a feeling of tension and apprehension that interferes with math performance. Somebody probably did this. I think that was it. All right. So it's a feeling of tension and apprehension that interferes with math performance, ability, the manipulation of numbers, and the solving of mathematical problems. Or a negative emotional reaction, tension, anxiety to mathematics that can be debilitating. And this is not general anxiety. This is a specific response to mathematics, and it interferes with the ability of the individual to handle the numbers and solve problems. It usually develops when students are in pressure situations, tests, exams, if they are afraid of being judged, and how quickly they can produce an answer. And some of these things are we have to pay attention to, because we can cause the students to develop math anxiety by how we conduct our classrooms, starting at very earliest of level. Years ago, I think the University of the West Indies Natural Science Department, Math Department, had a series running in the Gleaner, where they asked Jamaicans to write in and talk about their experience in math. 90% of it was negative. Students talked about being embarrassed in the class, being hit by the teacher. And I mean, these were adults talking about things that happened to them in primary school, which today gave them a negative feeling towards the subject. So I was told to set a 3 times table and I missed something and the teacher hit me in front of the class. And it was a lot of that kind of story that was being written in by just random Jamaicans. So we have to be careful about the culture we create in our classroom when we're teaching math. So persons who have specific negative past negative experiences associate something that was humiliating, they generally end up with her, and that's natural. But you can think of that being your response to anything that you would have had that kind of experience. And then, of course, there are the cultural biases. All right, so let's hear the data from PISA. Get ready, hold on to your seat. 70% of the students who were surveyed indicated they believe that some people are just good at math, no matter how hard they study. Some people are not going to be good at math. These were the Jamaicans saying it. These were the students who did that PISA test. 65% said your intelligence is something you can't change. All right, 53% said that they get very nervous doing mathematics problems. 45% said they feel helpless when doing a mathematics problem. And when we gathered the data from the questionnaire and analyzed it, we noticed that the students with a fixed mindset performed way below those with a growth mindset on the PISA test. So this attitude, mindset, how we were thinking, translating in how they were performing in a very real way on the same assessment instrument. It's clear to me the negative culture surrounding the teaching and learning of math in Jamaica is one of, if not, in my view, it is our greatest challenge. It's affecting the mindset of our children. It affects the mindset of our teachers. There are many teachers who probably say the same thing. And it's a part of the mindset of our parents, and it's just a part of how Jamaicans think. And there are many math myths driving this. There's a view men are better in math than women. Yet in the piece of data, the girls outperform the boys. So it doesn't translate. And in fact, it's hard to find consistent data sets where boys are always outperforming the girls. But there is a view that boys are better than girls, right? There's also a view that there's a best way and only one way to solve some math problems. I will perpetuate that in the classroom. I remember when my daughter was learning factor trees in prep school, and she didn't understand the way the teacher did it. And she came home, and this was my first, and she very emotional, and she started, I don't get it. So I said, well, can you figure it out? Do you understand the concept? And I kind of explained it, and I said, could you find another way to do it? And she found another way, and she did it, and they were all right, and she took it to school, and the teacher, of course, marked them wrong, of course, you know, who turned up the next morning. So I was like, why mark it wrong? That's not the way I taught. I said, yeah, but that's not the point. Is it conceptually correct? Yeah. I said, if it's conceptually correct, you cannot mark it wrong. The fact that she's doing it a way you don't know, and I would state under my breath, may not understand, doesn't mean that it is incorrect, right? But that's something we perpetuate. And what it does is place our children into boxes. If you don't think the way I think, and I force you to do it the way I know how, right? And you get it wrong, you're wrong. But if you come up with another way, rather than recognize and celebrate the innovation and the independent thinking, you see how we start to kill the innovation and the creativity early, right? So we have to push past that approach in our classrooms, where teachers perpetuate that thing. Do it the way I say. There's only one way to do it. I tell people you cannot left to right, right to left. You can. There are many ways to do addition, not just the put down and carry foolishness that we perpetuate. There are many ways to multiply, right? If you go in Asian countries, nobody's taking one answer. You have to come up with another method. You come up with another method. You come up with another method. That's how and it's the same thing that's driving the innovation and the creativity later. So we have to be careful. We also place a lot of emphasis on getting the right answer. There is beauty in the wrong answer. You know how many lessons I can teach from a wrong answer? Do you know how many things I can explore with my students by saying, so why you got it wrong? Do you know why you got it wrong? Why you got it wrong? Why you got that answer? Right? That opens the room to so much discourse and exploration of concepts that you as the teacher at the top of the room will never get out if you don't explore with your students. But we always emphasize getting the right answer. So once the student answer wrong, no, and you move on. And oh yes, and you celebrate that, but you didn't take a whole of the teachable moments to capitalize on exploring that incorrect answer. Sometimes fingers, and there are those of us who still believe to this day calculators in the classroom are an abomination. We don't see them as tools that can enhance learning. Again, problem solving, exploration. No most of the things you can get done if them kind of bam, 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 and then you can explore the why and the how, than to just say no, right? And again, some students are tactile. They're going to have to see something. They're going to have to, it's just how they think. Again, the view that memory is important to math because we place so much emphasis on rote learning, knowing the procedure, knowing the steps, to understand a blessed thing, you know, which is why students have so many challenges with CSEC. The year CSEC used that question, but changed something about the question, everybody gets it wrong. Because everybody was just so programmed to go through it a particular way, right? And a person, of course, we too believe about being born with the ability. All right, so what do we need to do? How are we going to truly grasp the transformative power of math education and change Jamaica's math culture? There is a lot of evidence that improving our competence in Jamaica, mathematical competence, will have a direct positive impact on our economy. However, we continue to struggle. So I thought of a quote I heard a few weeks ago. It's by Angela Davis. I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept. And I think that's a posture that all of us in math education and in Jamaica have to have. But we'll have to determine that we're not going to keep accepting what we are seeing now and posture ourselves to support the change that's required. So we need to continue to sustain every effort to improve the quality of teaching in our classroom and provide our students with enjoyable, yes, enjoyable, positive experiences that bring about laughter and are fun and meaningful learning experiences in the classroom. That's one way we're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to change what our math classrooms look like and what they feel like. Contrary to what you may think, lessons in those top countries are lively, thoughtful, engaging, characterized with a lot of problem solving, a lot of analysis, a lot of discussion, right? Looking at multiple methods, diving into errors, right? Dynamic. But in these contexts, teachers know their subject matter solidly. They're able to handle it. They're not afraid to explore with the students because they are confident in what they're doing. So that is also speaking to another matter which I'll touch on. So we have to invest in finding the best persons to become teachers. We have to prepare them to be effective teachers and support them in ensuring that they teach in a manner that meets the needs of all of their students. We also need to improve how we train our teachers. We know oftentimes that when they come in, even with the CSEC one, I'm sure you have it here at UTech, those of you who are here, when they come in with one and they come in with a pass, and you wonder, you really got CSEC? Because you're not seeing it translate into how they operate. In the same way, these are persons entering our teachers' colleges. And we have a diagnostic test that the ministry has administered annually for the past 6 or 7 years. And I would not stress you out with the results of the diagnostic test of the persons with the grades 1, 2, and 3, and heap sometimes. Basic concepts in geometry measurement, addition of fractions, decimals, they can't get it right. Can't do it, right? So we have to look at that. We have to make sure that if we know they're coming in with these gaps, can't close our eyes and deliver the courses and say they're here to the tertiary and then spill them out at the end with a degree. But then when they go in the classroom, they've not been given an opportunity to explore those misconceptions and address them. So we have to change how we are training our teachers. And we need to provide opportunities to continue to invest in the capacity building of our existing teachers in the system. So we have to continue to create spaces that will allow them to explore and look back at the things they think they know and have been teaching 20 and 30 years. And we also have to make sure that we focus on addressing the attitudes of all Jamaicans to math. We have to empower parents to engage their children in different ways, to see the relationship to math and the basic everyday activities that they're engaged in. When they're shopping, get into conversations about money. When you're cooking, get into conversations about measurement and proportion, right? I'm encouraging them to play games. I know we think the devices, if you find the right games, they may help. But there are some things that will allow, the problem for me with the device is usually a one-on-one. It's me and the device. So the opportunity for that kind of interaction and deep engagement isn't always there if you're not careful. So you have to be willing to play some of the good old-fashioned games with cards and die and get into that kind of discussion with our students, making patterns, using counting games, skip counting, finding shapes in the real world. Those are things parents can be empowered to do. It doesn't take much, and it's not taking a degree to do it. Teachers have to also play a significant role in changing their attitude to mathematics. They have a significant influence on the attitudes and beliefs of their students. They have to help students believe everybody is mathematically able. They have to demonstrate themselves as teachers and enthusiasm for the subject. Boy, I had some boring ones in high school. They have to ensure that they themselves have mastered the contents to be taught. They have to avoid placing too much emphasis on assessments and tests and provide opportunities for students to investigate and question while minimizing an emphasis on them memorizing steps and procedures. And in addition, all of us as Jamaicans, we have to make sure that everybody knows and understands the importance and relevance of math, that we encourage children to take risks with their thinking, ensure that they get the message it's okay to get it wrong, and encourage them, what can you learn from that? We have to support the development of a growth mindset. And in the words of Professor Claude Packer, the late Professor Claude Packer, we have to develop a teaching profession filled with persons who are able to make math come alive, have a passion for the subject, are exemplary role models of learning, have mastery of the content and the most effective methods of teaching the content, and take personal responsibility for mastering the subject, which has the potential to transform each Jamaican and our nation. If Jamaica is to grasp the transformative power of math, we have to be strategic in doing certain things. And we have to take the task. The task is great, but I pray that more of us will become committed to no longer accepting the things we cannot change, but instead being determined to change the things we can't accept. Thank you very much.
Let us have another round of applause for Dr. Benjamin, please. So we're now going to go on the question and answer period, taking about 3 questions in the interest of time. And we want the questions to be straightforward so that our guest speaker can address those questions in a timely manner. Those online, you know, be on mic, raise your hand so that we can recognize you. Who's going first for the first question? Oh. Mr. Prescott, your mic is not open. Can you open your mic?
I wasn't hearing you a little bit. Yes, beautiful presentation, timely presentation. And I don't know if I could use something from Michael Jackson to say that Jamaica, you are not alone. It seems to be an I don't want to reach it fast a pandemic maybe, but it seems to be a challenge across the region, and of course even Trinidad and Tobago here. We seem to be interested more in product rather than process. I don't know if our speaker can comment a little bit more on that. We are getting our kids to pass CSEC and Trinidad SC, which is a kind of 11+ exam, or levels, university level, but we're interested more in product rather than process. In other words, for kids or students or graduates to have appreciation of what mathematics is and the overall contribution it makes to our own development. So it's a timely conversation to have, and I don't know if our speaker can comment a little bit more on it, in that we are focusing more on product rather than process, in our understanding.
This side is working.
This side? Try again, Mr. Prescott, please. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, we are hearing you now. Go ahead.
Okay, my comment and hopefully question in it is that we seen me, firstly, I was making the point that Jamaica, you're not alone. If I can borrow from Michael Jackson tune. We seem to be focusing more on product rather than process. So the product is, we want to pass what we call 11+ exams or the primary school final exams. We want to pass CSEC, we want to pass A-levels, we want to pass graduates, we want to pass whatever it is. But the appreciation of the process, that is to say, to understand how we use mathematics to get to somewhere, understand how we use mathematics in the application of everyday life, in development, and of course, in discussion and national development, somehow that is lost in transition. So I don't know how, if our speaker can address a little bit more, because it's not just a Jamaican problem, if I may say, it's seemingly, and has been talked about across the region, a regional problem we seem to be having. I don't know if our speaker can comment a little bit more on that.
Yeah.
The chat where somebody is asking
Okay.
if PEP could be causing the problem, but the truth is that the level of underperformance is not yesterday, it goes back years. I think, yes, I do believe though that if our teachers don't understand that you are, that if you teach for students to understand the concepts, they'll be fine. So I think there's a general view of this drill and practice and this rote approach, rather than an investment in helping students to truly understand what they're doing. With understanding that if you do that, they will be fine. And if a strange question comes up, I like to use the analogy of, you know, my husband is not from Kingston. When he first came to Kingston and he'd be going somewhere, like, why you drive that way? You know, because I kind of know all the little inroads and this one connect to that, and you figure out how to navigate it. I will have to teach mathematics with that perspective, that students are not stuck on one road, that if I forget one little thing, everything falls apart. So I could say which is, you know, what is creating the problem? Is the assessment creating the problem, or is the assessment showing us that we have a problem? I don't necessarily believe that the assessments in and of themselves are creating the problem. I think our attitude to the assessments may be helping to drive the issue of underperformance, but I believe it's there. It's there.
Just a question, or maybe a thought. Could you say that maybe it's how the teachers are trained?
Oh, I believe teacher training is a big part of it. I do believe that. I think there's a lot of work that we have to do to reform how we prepare our teachers, both from the perspective of ensuring, as I said, that they understand what they are going to teach. I think, you know, we did a study tour to Singapore in 2015, 2016, and when we went, if you look at their teacher education program, there are courses that are they're named, and it speaks to the concept as it relates to the curriculum you're teaching. Yeah. So you have a suite of courses you do, and it's all about ensuring that that curriculum, primary or secondary, you're going to teach, you know that content. And then there are the courses now that are above the level. Our programs are designed like that. They come in and they go on linear this and that and this and all of those fanciness. And I'm not saying that they aren't important, but the truth is, if they can do all of that, but they can't add, they don't know how to plot a graph, they can't do basic statistics, they're not helping the student. So I think we need to, yes, and we're in the process. It's one of the recommendations from the Patterson report, the Jamaican Education Transformation Commission's report, that speaks to doing a review of the entire framework of the pre-service program. So we're engaged in that process now, looking at the issues that we're seeing, and trying now to look at how we have been approaching the preparation of teachers to redesign that framework.
Thank you so much. Let's see the next question.
The third question, what there.
Huh? Second question, yeah.
It's not really a question.
Yeah.
It's just having listened to your presentation, I understand perfectly what my daughter went through when she went to school. Well, I think my daughter is very bright, but she learns differently. And in third form, she was told, and I quote because I was sitting in front of the teacher, that she's a mathematical graveyard.
Graveyard?
And he don't have no time to deal with her because he has X number of students in his class. So I must go and find somebody else to tutor her. Fortunately, I was able to find an excellent tutor, an excellent engaged IT, and she got a 1 for maths. But from that day,
Her
she has
confidence.
been afraid of maths.
Yeah.
Even though she passed it
Mhm.
and, did, math was, 1 was the thing and you were okay, but from that day, from that third form teacher. So I now understand, having gone through the same experience, you have just explained in terms of the context of what my child and
Yeah.
other students
Many,
are going
many.
through. Yeah.
Too many.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate Dr. Benjamin a lot. As somebody who was exposed to the graduate program in preparing teachers in the mathematics teaching master's program, confidentially, teachers in the current system will share with me their experience privately. Some are even afraid, but I will say, no, I mean, you can't be teaching maths and be afraid. A gunman is even afraid of a mathematician. How are you afraid now? You should grow up, man. Don't be afraid. So this fear, a notion of being afraid, heaven will fall where you see one big equation and so on, and these Greek letters and symbol that will not bite no one. We have to work at it, and everyone will all needs to support one another and trying to see how best we can increase the knowledge and understanding of mathematics. So we are rounding up this session. We thank our guest speaker. We are very grateful and we look forward to the collaboration with the Ministry of Education. We are now going to present Dr. Benjamin with. I think we have one person who raised hand. We are so sorry. Not that we couldn't take it because of time. We are pleading to you to please defer your comment and question. Well, all right. Can you make it in a nutshell, Miss Muir? All right, please open your mic. Suzanne, can you open your mic and speak? We are giving you an opportunity for 3 minutes.
Yeah, all I wanted to know was one, there were some slides I didn't see them and I would prefer if I saw them, but I wanted to make one comment about when I was in high school, I had a what do you call it now? I had a experience where when I did well, teacher without anybody's permission said, Suzanne, you're 98. This other person 76, another person what? And people came up to me, at least one person, but more than one, came up to me and said, I'm embarrassing the whole class. And it was such a bad experience.
Yeah, we're sorry to hear that. That is the attitude we're talking about. That sometimes the teachers out of their, how will I put it, not understanding the implication of the attitude that they display to the students and the way they demotivate students with what they say verbally, rather than speak with encouraging words. Even if you don't like it, say encouraging things so that the students can. So we thank you so much. We're going to move on now. We are now in presentation of gifts. Dr. McFarlane will be giving our guest speaker from Jamaica Statistical Society. Over to you. Go ahead.
I'm sure that with your guidance, we will make that transformative move because we do need it in Jamaica if we're gonna excel. And this is just a token
On to the business session. Over to you, Dr. Novi Younger Coleman.
Right, so, again, I will still add my quote of thank you. I'm one person that's never tired of saying thanks. And even I feel like I came to you, I'm the one that was persistent. Feel like I came even kind of last minute and you're still able to accommodate us and you've shared so much. Really appreciate, very enlightening. As much as I was getting a little sad and like, oh gosh, what shall we do? You know, but at the end you gave us some hope. You know, we don't need to just accept the things we cannot change, but work towards changing the things we should study with Finlay's legacy, and we will do our best to partner in every way possible with our education system so that we indeed can change the face and change our economy. I mean, the fact that it affects your economy is, you know, it's a great eye opener. So, right, at this point, we're going to have to, well, we're going to try and wrap it up in half an hour. Thank you very much for staying with us.